Before we start this Fashion Week review, please check the resources down below to help and support the Asian community because they're going through a lot of hate right now and that's unacceptable and I don't stand for that on this channel and neither should you. So please check the resources down below and let's support them and let's show them our love because we love the Asian community. Asians, all Asians, we love you. I'm giving you a heart. Oh my god, it's like hearts and hearts. Ah! I'm Starboy and welcome to my world and welcome to the casual guide to the Fashion Weeks by me. Round of applause, my thank you. Actually, the day you're watching this, it's the last day of Paris Fashion Week. Now, if you don't know what the Fashion Weeks are, I'll keep you up to date. Fashion Weeks usually happen every 2 times a year. So it happens between February and March and September and October. And usually the big designers like Prada, Dior, Burberry, etc. will show off their collection for the following seasons. And these often influences what the trends are and what we will follow as consumers. So because we're doing it in February and March, which is spring summer, it's going to be showing the autumn winter collections for 2021. The official order is New York, London, Milan and Paris. Yes, I do realize it's the wrong way around, but just roll with me here. I'm just so annoyed it was the wrong way. Oh. So we're splitting it right half in the middle. And in this video, we're looking at New York and London. This is gonna be quite fun, expect some opinions, just expect me to have the time of my life. These are all just my opinions also, like go and investigate it. Tell me your favorite designers from this season's down below. I'm very interested to hear. And if you do like fashion videos, please make sure you subscribe because next week we're doing Milan and Paris. And without further ado, let us begin with New York Fashion Week. This is what I'd wear to New York, bye. Give me a hot dog. That was a terrible New York accent, I am sorry. One of my lecturers was talking about Fashion Week and about the reputations of each of the shows. New York is known to be the most commercial and New York is known to be the most, they say conservative, which I would say the most wearable, like the most you could like literally pick it up from the runway and be like, yep, that's mine. Let me give you the vibes. You know the vibes. Dream Kiki by Kiana Ledé. I got that it was very accessible, wearable. It seemed very real and grounded, almost like romanticizing the everyday kind of thing. It was almost like they were designing for a person. And you can kind of see that particularly with one of the shows, like I think Jason Wu, he was literally making it for the everyday woman. And I think even in the description of the show, he was saying how would you rather have something that's like glamorous to represent the dream life of what we want after COVID, or would you want it to be what a woman can wear when she's just picking up her grey suit 20 minutes? And it was kind of described like that. I'd say it's sophisticated, very glamorous, and it's, as I said, romanticizes. Like I feel like particularly with this, they very much romanticize people and romanticize the ideas of glamour and romanticize almost like characters and personas, and I feel like that's very much reminiscent of the shows that I particularly liked also. So my favorites from this season were from New York, Private Policy. Now Private Policy is an Asian owned brand, and I think this was one of the collections where they actually used their like platform to talk about the rise of Asian hate, as particularly with Miss Rona being around, being a bitch, because obviously a lot of people became racist in response to Miss Rona being around, which is disgusting. They wanted to talk about it within their collection, and I also think it's very relevant as the rise of talking about Asian hate on social media has come around, so I think it's very fitting. Again, you know where those resources are down in the description. And the collection is very, I was gonna say very stripped back, but still very much detailed. Like I feel like for this one, the color scheme is quite stripped. Like most of it is a neutral color scheme. So it's almost this like beigey white color. Like most looks a bit like gray, but it looks very aesthetically pleasing to the eye. They're using a lot of different silhouettes from like Asian culture. So for example, like the neckline they used in traditional garments, a mandarin neckline, they integrate that into like modern wear. And they use lots of outfit formulas that we would wear like an oversized sweatshirt with a tighter mini skirt and boots. Like it reminds me of like 2017 me a bit, but I did enjoy it and I thought it looked very aesthetically pleasing. One of my other ones, which I did mention earlier, was actually Jason Wu, another Asian designer. We stan, we do. And Jason Wu, again, like I said, he was mainly focused on the woman about town who was just gonna pick up her groceries. What was quite cool is that throughout the collection they included like Coca-Cola motifs, so it wasn't just like the print of just like Coca-Cola and just like walk look off, but it was like done really cleverly. There's almost like romanticism about the everyday woman, which is obviously reflected in my outfit. This almost like elevated every day, and I think that's what's beautiful, and I think that is what makes New York Fashion Week really nice in that way, because it is just fun, and I feel like it definitely brings on personas, and I feel like you could picture this woman. She was a woman who's about town, who gets her brunches. I miss brunches so much. And then gets flowers for herself. She's a Pinterest bitch. If I was gonna say, I feel like she's the kind of woman who'd get like waffles in the morning with like a mimosa. She just gives me that kind of vibe. But it still looks great, and I feel like could incorporate into other people's styles really well. Another show I really liked was Christopher Cohen's show. Christopher Cohen, he's a British designer but shows in New York. That happens quite a lot. Christopher Cohen was like, bitch, we are bringing the glam back. And I stan it. It's like glitter and glam, short dresses and sparkles. The gay in me is screaming. Very traditionally like 80s, quite glam. And I really liked it. I like the use of color. Like, it's also just fun. Like, I feel like this collection is just fun. Big hair, high heels, and like classically glam makeup with like eyeliner, and I think it really worked. It was just so beautiful. One of the collections I'm gonna say, it's not my favorite because I know them as a brand can do better, but I would say definitely fits into New York Fashion Week a lot, was Alice and Olivia. It's giving me Gossip Girl tease. Basically, if my friend Nia saw this collection when she was like 14, she would eat this up like no other. The styling, the location, the hair, it kind of reads to me like Benny Humphrey meets Blair Waldorf. It wasn't my favorite because I think it just was too on the tongue of like Gossip Girl versus like inspired by Gossip Girl, and it just screamed like we're trying to please the young people. It could be made for the Gossip Girl reboot. It was just too on the tongue, but that, again, if you look at that collection, you can see the person who's meant to wear it. And a lot of the time with the other collections, you could tell the woman that was gonna wear it. New York is making for a person, so that's why obviously it's a lot more commercial. I would say overall, this week was nice to see, but it's not my favorite week. I think New York could do better, but I would say Jason Wu was the standout. Let's go to the next one because I feel like it'd be a good idea. For London, because we're looking very experimental, I kind of went with an outfit that's experimental at the least. London is very different. Now, London is known by fashion people for the new designers, the new ages, the new ones who are gonna take over, or basically just new designers coming into the game. And I feel like that's very reflected into the vibe of London. So what I got was, a lot of it was very vintage inspired. Now, so many collections took inspiration from the past in so many different ways, whether it was like the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even a little bit of 90s. I feel like it was very little collections that weren't vintage inspired. It could just be this idea of escapism and we want to live through the past vicariously. I said bright, and a lot of it was very sustainably focused. So a lot of the designers were focused on using renewable sources and reusing things. It's experimental, it's new. Again, it's like this escape and this storytelling. Unlike New York, London is telling a story for their collections. A lot of them aren't just like a person they're trying to idealize for, it's more of a story and more of a vibe. I feel like I'm reading a story to you. Once upon a time. It was just very free. I feel like because London isn't really restricted to a style, so many different avenues, like there was no concrete style and there was no concrete vibe ever. Like they were all so different, but the vibe of all of them differently were concrete into one. If you did not also know that Fashion Week, because of COVID, it's now a lot of it transferred into digitally. New York didn't really do this, so that's why I didn't really mention it, but London did a lot of it where it became into fashion films. One designer thingy who I think was just ace the cakes, was Soul Nash. The video was stunning. The lighting, I think, was beautiful. The concept is incredible. And the choreographer, because he's also a British choreographer as well, it's so beautiful and it's so cool. Like, you have to watch it. You have to. My videographers, you have to see it because that's probably one of my favorite fashion films on there. My favorite collections were Adem, taking a lot of inspiration from like the 50s, 60s. It was very light for an autumn winter collection. Like the colors were light and bright, and not bright as in colorful, but bright as in like, it was very much like the tans and the beiges with like whites. It was just very beautiful to look at. It's also inspired by ballerinas and like the Royal Academy, which I think is even more beautiful. Give us the ballet. And I just think overall made this beautiful collection. My second favorite, Molly Goddard. Molly Goddard is known for teal, but it was just super colorful, super bright, really fun, giving us 80s teas. Ew. I feel like London, what they did was kind of show what life was going to be like after COVID. then subsequently, because of London and the British guidelines actually having a plan, so by the time it does go autumn winter, hopefully it will be a lot more freer and we are able to live life for a big normality. Like they've got the plan, I'll put the plan here if I can find it. Because of that, it then kind of subsequently reflects in the fashion of like how we do want that like freedom. Another one of my favorites is Harpan. Actually, he was a guest lecturer for my uni, so I was just like, hey. I love the 80s and this collection was just fun. Personally, I prefer this spring summer collection because it featured the key workers and I feel like it was a really nice way to celebrate, but I think his autumn winter did what it needed to do. I ended up spotting some menswear collections which, oh, they did what they needed to do, and honestly, for menswear, black designers came and thrive. One of them is Labrum. The collection is stunning for menswear. It was bright, it seemed wearable, but yeah, interesting. I love how it was so like proud with him being black, because again, like the musicians were all black, and I think even the location was very significant within black culture, which makes it even better. But also, other fun fact, my tutor, my main tutor, Chantal, if you're watching this, hey, she knows him, which I was just like, wow, I know it does not. And you really just feel special, even though you don't know him. I was like, I'm a special bitch. Beautiful collection. I also love the ruffles and the use of yellow, like really worked well. Another one I really liked was Tokyo James, a British Nigerian designer. This collection gave me everything I needed. It gave me sequins, the cobalt blue, like you know that cobalt blue that's just a bit awkward to style, but looking beautiful. I was just like, yes. And it was giving me everything that I needed in life and more. Honestly, probably one of my favorite collections in general. I really enjoyed it and it was just so fun. And I think for menswear a lot, it doesn't really get shown in that way. Again, looking at the comparison, it's like this collection is what I wish fast fashion would take notes of more. Another one I really enjoyed was Burberry's men's. Now, they became very gender fluid and we love it. They were styling men in skirts and dresses and I was like, yes. But the reason why I think this was done so effectively was because it seemed very seamless and it was very cohesive within the branding and within the collection in general. It was like, here's a skirt that I think men would wear because it goes with this suit, it goes with the jacket, and it seemed like every single detail was kind of thought out, and that's why I really enjoyed it, and I think that's what makes it effective. We also loved Simone Rocha. Simone Rocha actually has also done a collection with H&M, which I personally also love. Simone Rocha's collection, again, she's a tulle queen, but she's almost the opposite to Monique Goddard, where this collection was very punk inspired, rough and edgy and experimental. Like the tulle was in different places and it was just very playful. I think was really a cool collection and definitely a standout for me. Overall though, London was fun. They always put on a show. My top 3, if I had to say, from London were Erdem, Tokyo James, and I actually really like Burberry Men. And my favorite video was Soul Gnashers because you need to see it because it's so good. I really hope you did enjoy this. Again, please make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know next week review of Milan and Paris Fashion Week. And as soon as you hear those 2 words, bitch, you know it's gonna be a great time. Please do so, and I shall see you guys next week with this part 2.